Good afternoon. I'm not Mike, but as a trial lawyer, I have no problem projecting my voice loudly in a large room. Can you all hear me in the back? Yes. Okay. I would ask our speakers, we're going to have a short program with some very distinguished guests and speakers here on this momentous day that one Cesar Vargas was admitted to the New York State Bar. So congratulations, Cesar. My name is Jose Perez. I'm the Deputy General Counsel of Latino Justice PRLDEF, and my organization, Latino Justice, had the pleasure and privilege of representing Cesar for the past 4+ years in his journey to become the first undocumented or now documented lawyer here in the state of New York. It has been a pleasure being able to represent Cesar. I remember meeting him over almost 4 years ago. The White House was doing a community briefing here in New York about its plans to integrate immigrants into this country, and I met this stupendous young man who said he was just graduated law school. Now Cesar may tell you this story that actually we met before when he was in law school, and that he was looking for a job, and I kind of blew him off, and I have no independent recollection of any such meeting, but so I will say we met exactly 4 years ago. But and again, this has been a roller coaster ride. There have been peaks and there have been valleys from when the day that we filed his application in October 2012, and actually I have a photograph here of him dropping his application in the mailbox outside our office on Hudson Street, to his initial interviews, to the disappointment when they raised questions about Cesar's character. And if anything you know about Cesar's character, that his character is impeccable. And then when we had to do the hearing, and I thought, we traveled to Staten Island and did this great hearing, and Cesar made an eloquent closing speech and remarks about why he should be admitted, and then receiving the decision that they found Cesar did in fact possess the requisite character and fitness, but that they could not admit him because of his immigration status. And then referring the matter to the court and fighting. And then just last June, when the court came out with its, right here in Brooklyn, the Appellate Division 2nd Department came out with its decision saying, yes, Cesar could be admitted, that someone, even with DACA or being undocumented, could possess the requisite, meet the requirements for character and fitness, that in fact Cesar was on trial in Iowa concerning a little prior incident where he posed a question to one of the Republican presidential aspirants about, what was his position on immigration. And so there in the Valley, he'd gotten this great decision of national importance, and at the same time was fighting for his right in Iowa. And so that kind of threw a little monkey wrench, and we had to wait a couple more months. But Iowa is now, particularly after Monday, a distant memory. And and the one thing I will say, I understand Iowa and the Republicans, they had nominated Mike Huckabee and Rick Santorum in the last 2 presidential elections. So I wouldn't put much value in what Iowans decide or vote for this country. As an aside. And that'll be my dabble into the presidential political forum today. We have a number of special guests here and friends. I'd like to, as you know, Cesar and his family live in Staten Island. There's a contingent here from Staten Island. I know they've been longtime friends and supporters. Gonzalo Mercado, who was actually one of Cesar's character references, who attested to his, endless work with Dreamers in Staten Island through El Centro de Migrante. Charlie Troya, also from Staten Island here, and a number of others. We have CUNY Law School in the house. I know Dean Michelle Anderson, again, who in my 30 years of practice was the best witness I ever had the pleasure of examining in a hearing. Professor Janet Calvo, who was kind of my right arm and ear and brain in terms of helping to formulate the legal arguments. Professor Rick Racine, again, who really, the CUNY Law faculty, the CUNY Law School administration really got behind Cesar as one of their own, welcoming him into the law school with open arms, and helping him navigate that course, and then graduating and proudly calling him one of their own. Latino Justice is here, and you'll hear shortly from Juan Cartegena, our President and General Counsel, otherwise known as my boss. We have The ambassador from Mexico, Ms. Sandra Fuentes, is here recognizing the value of what Cesar means to not only the people of Mexico and Latin America, Central America, and as a famous salsero from Panama once said, we should all remember, this is the Western Hemisphere, the continents are all called the Americas. And others. But there's also one very special person here that I want to call out and recognize. Hay una persona aquí muy importante entre todos los especiales que están aquí, que es responsable por todo aquí hoy, y esa es la mamá de Cesar, Teresa Galindo. Señora, usted ha hecho un maravilloso de trabajo creyendo su familia y particularmente con Cesar. Cesar me dijo, tú sabes, tuvo unas cosas cuando era un teenager o más joven y que lo cogiera por la oreja, tú sabes, así que se portaba bien. Y Cesar aprendió sobre eso y mira dónde está aquí, trabajando en una campaña por el presidente de este país. Nada más un país como América, los Estados Unidos, donde puede pasar eso. Entonces, señora Galindo, felicidades y saludos a usted y toda la familia de la Vargas Galindo que están aquí hoy. Just quickly, I wanted to recognize and thank Cesar's mom, Teresa Galindo, for the wonderful job she did in raising her family, and particularly Cesar. I know Cesar had a few moments of teenage indiscretion, and the story that I get is that when mom picked him up afterwards, grabbed him by the ear and sent him to his room, that he got the message, that he better behave. And so, again, that here he is now today. He clearly learned those lessons, that he's helping working on a national campaign for President of the United States. Only, again, in America can something like this happen. Our first speaker today it will be Dr. Sophie Berman. Dr. Berman is the chair of philosophy here at St. Francis College. Cesar, we're here at St. Francis. Cesar is now an esteemed alumnus of St. Francis College. You see the thing there, class of 2005. And I can't believe it, but he graduated magna cum laude. I mean, and he was a philosophy major. I mean, I remember my college philosophy classes. I'm sorry. God bless. And I understand one of the courses he took with you, Professor Berman, was Women in Philosophy. So I'm going to ask Erica if they've had any in-depth philosophical discussions on feminism and philosophy. So Dr. Berman, please.
Thank you very much. He took women in philosophy, Greek philosophy, and modern philosophy with me. What an experience. So my name is Dr. Sophie Berman. I'm professor of philosophy and chair of the Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies here at St. Francis College. And I'd like to say how tremendously proud I am of Cesar's achievements, and particularly the achievement that we're celebrating today, over tremendous odds, and how inspiring Cesar has been to me over the years. I'm so happy that we stayed in contact over all these years. Students often ask me, what do you do with a philosophy major? Well, to know what you can do with a philosophy major, what you should do with a philosophy major, just look at Cesar Vargas. I remember Cesar in the classroom 11 or 12 years ago. He was always totally engaged, totally present to the matter at hand. Then, as now, his concern was always the pursuit of truth and the fight for justice, never the promotion of his own ego. Cesar exemplifies the integration of a very deep inner life and a life of service to others. That's what I see in him. He epitomizes what it means to be a philosophy major and a graduate of St. Francis College. So I'm very happy to be here with him today to celebrate and thank him for his example.
Thank you, Dr. Berman. Next, I would like to invite Juan Cartegena, the President and General Counsel of Latino Justice PRLDEF.
Good afternoon y buenas tardes. Quiero primeramente felicitar a la familia de Cesar Vargas en esta ocasión tan importante, tan simbólica y tan bonita. A la familia, muchísimas gracias a ustedes por apoyar a Cesar en esa carrera que tiene ahora y en todos sus años de estudiar. Muchísimas gracias a la familia. You know, at Latino Justice PRLDEF, we're very used to being in lawsuits that challenge a lot of the basic fundamental tenets of the country. We're very used to being in lawsuits sometimes when we sue the government. We're very used to being in lawsuits that can take a long time from beginning to end, like 9 years, 10 years, multiple appeals. We're also very used to accepting the fact that not all times a lawsuit is enough, that sometimes a lawsuit has to be followed up with action, community-based action, mobilization, vigilance, and monitoring. In my office, when we got a chance to meet Cesar Vargas for the first time, I was President General Counsel not that long. Jose Perez had been in the office with me longer than I had been there. And we both met with Cesar, and we both knew that the context in which Cesar was actually trying to operate in, the context of allowing an individual like himself to practice law after so much sacrifice personally of getting to the point of practicing law, but not sure if he was going to be allowed to practice law, was very, very important. There were people like Cesar in Florida and people like Cesar in California who also tried to do what he did. Cesar knew all of them. He knew all of them by name. They collaborate. They create a network. And so he came to us with this incredible knowledge, this incredible promise, and this incredible ability to understand the context in which this all happens. And that is a beautiful moment. To say, for me, yes, we want to represent you, was so easy. Que más fácil no puede ser, ¿no? Una decisión tan fácil, con un señor tan joven, y con tanta promesa que tiene Cesar. To walk in our doors with so much promise, it was easy to say yes to this, to representation. It took 4 years, though, and Jose already described a lot of the travails, up and downs of the 4 years, and it's not easy. So I want to really end by saying this. This is a very, very, very big, proud day for all New Yorkers of all races, colors. It's also a very significant day for all the dreamers throughout the entire country when they see Cesar do what he did. It's an incredibly important day for Cesar personally and for his family. But it's an incredibly important day for all Latinos and all of us of all races who aspire to a country that talks about its ideals of equality and justice and that makes those things a reality. And that's why it's such a beautiful moment for us today. Lastly, it's also very important to recognize that this is a very important day for the New York State judiciary. The judges of our state who recognized and told the state and the entire country, we are the ones who have the authority to decide who can practice law. We are the ones who have the authority to understand what is character and moral fitness. No one but us can decide that. And even when the federal government said, you cannot do it, they said, oh, yes, we can. And they did. And the opinion that they issued in Cesar Vargas' case is an opinion that will live forever. Not only for what it means for people like Cesar, dreamers and others like him who strive for the dream, but what it means for the power of the judiciary to stand up and say, this is ours, we decide, and he can practice law. A beautiful day for all of us. We're so proud as attorneys at Latino Justice that we're able to play a part in this amazing day. It took 4 years, but a while. It could have taken a lot longer based on the kind of other cases that we have. So a beautiful ending, a beautiful way to say yes. And Cesar, siempre está bienvenido en nuestras oficinas to collaborate and to work on all kinds of matters in the future. Muchísimas gracias.
And just to follow up what Juan said, to realize the national significance of the New York court decision in Cesar's case last year, we're in February. Last month, we've received telephone calls from the General Counsel from the Utah State Bar that they have several undocumented and documented law students in the 2 law schools in Utah, and they're trying to figure out what they can do, what they have to do in terms of considering them. And so they wanted to find out more about Cesar's case and some of the briefing and the arguments and the reasoning. And so I had to share with them, again, that unlike what the Department of Justice says, that the state didn't have to pass a law, the judiciary and the state bar could review and determine his eligibility and his character and fitness. We've heard from a documented student in Texas who heard about Cesar and wanted to know more about his case. So again, this is just not New York. It's just not here locally. Again, it is of great significance. And just as an example, I know of other documented recent law graduates who are now being admitted within normal channels and do not have to go through this whole court process and wait for years in order to be admitted. A slightly lengthier process. But as Juan said, some of our cases have been known to go on for 5, 6, 10 years. So we are thankful for that. Next, again, I wanted to invite Dean Michelle Anderson. Again, like I said, great witness. Really, we were talking earlier. We remembered that hot summer day in July 2013 where we had to run to catch the noon ferry to Staten Island so we could go make it to the hearing on time. Lawyers rule number 1, never be late to court. So to make sure we got there on time. So Michelle Anderson, the Dean of CUNY Law School.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so pleased to be here celebrating Cesar Vargas' accomplishments and a milestone for the rights of immigrants, and in particular, the rights of dreamers. His personal life, Cesar Vargas' personal life, is a moving story of overcoming hardships early in his life and a real passion to serve his country and community. And at CUNY Law, we are so proud to have him as one of our own. There's a reason he went to CUNY School of Law, and we've got a couple other folks from CUNY here in the room. CUNY has a dual mission to graduate outstanding public interest and public service attorneys, and also to help diversify the practicing bar, to help it better reflect the diversity of this extraordinary state of New York. Our student body is about 45% first or second generation immigrants, and almost 50% students of color. And when Cesar came to CUNY, he fit right in. I had the personal pleasure of teaching Cesar in his first semester, criminal law. He was my student. He got an A in a very demanding class. I was so impressed with his work that I asked him to be my teaching assistant the following year. And he went on as my teaching assistant to impart wisdom and knowledge and doctrine to the next students behind him. And that is emblematic of what he's doing here in this work. He works extremely hard and then gives back to people behind him. He's also this just consistently friendly and open and outgoing person. So I hope all of you get to meet him personally if you haven't had a chance to. He graduated from CUNY Law with an extremely strong GPA of 3.7. He went on to pass the bar the first time, very difficult to do, and then went on to be told by the Character and Fitness Committee that he was a stellar candidate to practice law. And as you've heard, last June, the Appellate Division determined that he should be admitted to practice in New York State, and today marks that important transition. We saw a beautiful ceremony this morning, and the ceremony itself underscored the importance of diversity in the practicing bar. It underscored the importance of social justice and the immigrant story. So it was particularly appropriate and moving. So many people from CUNY Law have invested our hearts and our aspirations in Cesar's life and his work in this journey. Many faculty, students, and staff have been inspired by his story and wanted to help. And on behalf of CUNY School of Law, I want to congratulate you, Cesar Vargas, and his family, and to say hooray for the entire immigrant community. Thank you.
And by now, again, CUNY Law School, again, has proudly embraced Cesar. And again, I don't know, I have this picture, like there's an article him from a couple of years now, but it's been in El Diario or whatever, so if you see one of the pictures, this is like the Cesar Vargas law student pose, you know. We have the one, you know, him, you know, sitting on the steps with the law and being in front of the law book. So this is, I think, one of the iconic Cesar Vargas pictures. I saw Natalia Varela enter. Natalia is another proud alumnus of CUNY School of Law. Some of the work that we did over these 4 years, we filed 3 different briefs in support of Cesar's application, arguing why under New York and federal law he was eligible and should be admitted to practice. We, Latino Justice and I, could not have done the work without the help of our law students and legal interns and our legal team. Natalia was one of those law students who interned with us through a class at CUNY Law School called the Equalities Concentration, taught by Professor Rick Racine. And again, at that semester, Natalia was like, you know, every day, Cesar Vargas, 14th Amendment, 10th Amendment, helping to research and write that brief. So Natalia, I recognize Natalia. We had other interns. Andres Sanchez from Hofstra Law School worked on one brief. Julissa Mendina from Pace Law School worked on another brief. So again, this is part of teaching and training our future generation of lawyers to how to go about the practice of law. So thank you, Natalia. Next, I would like to invite the Honorable Sandra Fuentes, the ambassador from Mexico, here.
Thank you very much. This is certainly a great day for Mexicans in New York that I have the fortune to represent, being Mexico's Consul General here. Es para mí un verdadero honor y un placer estar con ustedes hoy. Sobre todo quiero felicitar a la mamá de César, a quien ya había tenido oportunidad de conocer en otras ocasiones, y a toda la familia extendida que veo que están todos aquí hoy, por este triunfo de César, que es un triunfo para todos los mexicanos que viven en Nueva York. Debo decir que el caso de César es un caso emblemático. I must say that Cesar's fight has been an emblematic one, but I think it is only the first of many to come. It is always necessary to remind everybody that Latinos are not only Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, it's also Mexicans. And we're going to be the largest minority in New York City by the year 2020. And that is just around the corner. So we have to have more Cesars. We have to have more fights. We have to have people understand the importance of Mexicans in New York, and to remind them every single day that we're no rapists, we're no criminals, we're no drug traffickers, we're hard-working people. And Cesar is the best. I want to thank very much the Latino Justice Center. They have been, of course, crucial in Cesar's victory today, and they deserve all the credit. And I also want to recognize CUNY, with which the consulate has a very important affiliation. They now manage the window of educational opportunities that opened only 2 months ago at the consulate, and they are guiding all the students through the process and how to navigate the educational system of New York. But most important, what we are witnessing is that we have mostly questions about adult education. And that means that our community is finally realizing that they have to prepare themselves better, they have to have a better education in order to live the American dream that they all come searching. It is essential that people understand and people realize that Mexicans are not taking anybody's jobs. We are here doing jobs that people do not want to do, that we are hardworking people, and that we migrate mostly out of an act of love, because the remittances sent from New York, from the United States to Mexico last year were over $24 billion, just to give you an idea on how important it is for these people to send money to their loved ones back in Mexico. I can't think of anybody better to practice law than Cesar. César, estoy muy orgullosa de ti, de todo lo que has hecho, y yo espero que tu ejemplo sea seguido por muchos, muchos mexicanos. I'm going to draft him also to come to the consulate where we have many inquiries, many questions on immigration, on immigration law, and in fact we are now working with CUNY in order to open another service that will have permanently CUNY lawyers at the consulate in order to help not only answer questions about immigration law, but mostly to bring the citizens, the Mexicans that are here and that are eligible, to become citizens. It is very important in order to have the Mexican voices heard, to make public policies for them. And it is through you. It is a shame that there's only one single Mexican, one single American of Mexican descent in the City Council, where we need to be much better represented. It is time that all of us understand the importance and the number of Mexicans here. I keep on signing birth certificates, and I can tell you that there are many more young Mexicans coming, many more Americans of Mexican origin that are going to school, that are learning, that are integrated in the New York life. And I am sure, I am absolutely certain that we will see several Cesars in the future. Cesar, you are the first documented, as it was said very funnily, lawyer in New York. I am certain that you will help your community. There are many, many people that are awaiting your example, that are awaiting what you have done in order to also challenge the institutions. I have to say that I am always grateful for the judicial of this country, because at the end of the day they are doing what the government hasn't been able to do, and they are understanding that migrants need to be recognized, that they contribute in a very special way and a very important way to the economy of this country. So Cesar, my personal congratulations. I am very happy to see you today. I know that we have already celebrated several times, but I think this time we can open champagne and not only tequila and mezcal. You deserve to be the best Mexican lawyer in New York. Thank you very much.
So let's just hope, Cesar, again, I don't know whatever his ultimate career path takes him, whether Washington or around the country, but hopefully he will come back. I think he'll always come back to New York City. And I remember at his hearing in Staten Island, I had Cesar do his own closing statement. And, he says this is his country, this is his home, this is where he's growing up in Brooklyn. James Madison High School, same high school as Senator Schumer, right? St. Francis College, where we are today, CUNY Law School in Queens, that this is his home. So hopefully, he will always come back to New York City, and who knows, maybe he'll be one of the future elected officials or representatives here, and not just for Mexicans, but for all Latinos and for all New Yorkers and Americans. Next, before I introduce the next speaker, I think a critical moment in Cesar's case really came about 2 years ago, or a year, I guess, summer 2000, geez, time has flown by. Summer 2014, we had a meeting with the New York State Attorney General's staff. And this was an ongoing dialogue and process we had for over 2 years. And John Garcia, who's the Director of Communications and Community Engagement at Latino Justice, the way he has described this, that we have used Latino Justice for lawyers, we've used every legal method and some not so behind the door, behind scenes, and advocating and lobbying for our clients and our community. Well, one of those efforts was reaching out to the Attorney General's office to educate them about Cesar and his case. They met with Cesar, and at some point they agreed to support toward his application. And it was almost precisely at that moment that the court here in Brooklyn invited both the Department of Justice in Washington and the New York State Attorney General's office to submit amicus, a friend of the court briefs. Well, unfortunately, the Department of Justice took the same position it had done in California and Florida, saying Cesar was ineligible, he could not be admitted unless New York first passed the law. But the Attorney General's office, Attorney General Eric Schneiderman and his staff kind of came to a different conclusion that, under New York law, that was not necessarily the case, that the judiciary could make that determination, and that in fact Cesar fulfilled all the requirements under both New York and federal law. So here today, joining us from the New York State Attorney General's office is Andrew Ayers. He's from the Solicitor General's office and had a hand in the part of the great Attorney General's brief, which I think again was a tipping point in balancing the scales in Cesar's favor. Andy?
Hi, I'm Andy Ayers. I'm from the Attorney General's office, and I want to offer Cesar the warmest possible congratulations from Attorney General Schneiderman. I know this is a huge day for you, for your family, for this amazing crowd of supporters you've gathered around you over the years. And it was a wonderful moment for us when we realized we had something useful to contribute to your case, that we could come in and have the privilege and honor of helping to explain to the court why this was the day that we should all be looking forward to. And as proud as we are of the work that we did, we're obviously so much more proud of you. As lawyers, we know that it's a big day for anybody, a big accomplishment for anybody to get admitted to the bar. But in your case, it took more than brain power, it took more than love of the law, it took more than hard work. It took a special kind of courage and determination. You faced challenges that most of us, many of us, will never have to face, and you did it with a courage and integrity and tenacity that's been inspiring to all of us. And from all of us at the AG's office who worked on your case, I want to say we know that as you went through this process and did all this work, you did it not just for yourself, but you were thinking of others as well, all of the other dreamers and all the people who are similarly situated, and you were aiming to set a precedent for them, and hopefully that's what we've done. I hope this will be the first of many celebrations here in New York, and maybe even all around the country. And so on behalf of the Attorney General, I want to thank you for your commitment to public service, for your commitment to social justice, and I want to say welcome to the bar of the state of New York. We're lucky to have you. The people of New York are lucky to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andy. The moment of truth. The person you've all been waiting to hear from. It's been an interesting relationship, Cesar. The one thing I can wish for you is that you have a client just like yourself, like you were with me. My hair was Cesar's color when this case started. Dealing with him. So I would hear from friends, or here, Cesar said this on the media, or Cesar blogged about this, and Cesar did what in Iowa? I'd be texting Cesar or emailing him, what happened? Kind of, and not even waiting, or he would say, Jose, by the way, Perez. But, so I only wish you have a client just like yourself. Those of you who know, been to our office, I have a picture on my door, and this isn't just like, I have Cesar in a chokehold, sometimes the exasperation. But now that he's admitted attorney, Cesar, go out, protest, do that. But I think it exemplifies who Cesar is as a man, that he's a person of integrity. He has his beliefs, he has his convictions, he navigated this. And in the words of an immortal old blue eyes, Frank Sinatra, he did it his way, he did it my way. So Cesar Vargas.
When this is the first time that I actually got a sense of being nervous, because I think for me, seeing what we have accomplished is something bigger than anything. When I see the stars and the heavens, they're not made up by one star. When I see the vast ocean, they're not made by a drop of water. It's a whole galaxy of stars. And this is what this victory represents. No major change in this great nation to open the doors for so many people is made possible by one individual. Civil rights fights have been fought by so many brave individuals, soldiers who committed to ensuring that injustice was overturned. And this fight was made possible by each and single one here. So for me, the only thing that I would say is thank you. Thank you for standing by my side. Thank you for helping me opening a door for so many other young people. So thank you. Thank you so much. You know what, honestly, there was moments that I didn't think this day would come. Weeks, days turning to days, weeks turning to months, months turning to years. Those years, almost 4 years. And you know, at first I was pretty brave, saying, you know what, we need to challenge the federal government. We need to challenge the laws because we cannot let anyone close the door on the aspirations or dreams of anyone. But I must admit, there was moments where I felt defeated. There was moments where I said, I don't think I'm going to be a lawyer. But no one in this room gave up on me. No one in this room gave up on the ability to really push a person forward to reach their dreams. So when we came here today, this was a great victory by the state of New York. So many people here made this possible. And I know that my commitment as now a lawyer, as attorney at law, I'm going to dedicate my career. My heart will be ever devoted to the welfare of my family, my community, and my nation. Because we need to make sure that we are challenging laws that are closing the doors of young people. Not just immigrants, but Latinos and poor people. And people who don't have the ability to aspire for the American dream. We want to make sure that we are opening the gates for the ability to go to college, the ability to work, the ability to have their right respected. And when we see the extreme rhetoric of politicians calling people rapists, calling people killers, that's not who we are as a nation. When I see the American flag, I also see that, you know what, I cannot vote, I can be deported, but you know what, I also see a promise of a great nation. For me, the Constitution is not just a set of laws, a set of dictates by individuals. I do see a nation aspiring to opening the doors for so many people, to ensure that we are all equal, regardless of where you're born, that we can achieve anything if we work hard enough, if we aspire and fight for our dreams. So I just want to be short because I know this day is not just about me. This day is about all of us. This day is me recognizing that I am glad that I won't be the only person in here in New York to be admitted in the years to come. So many other amazing individuals will be able to be lawyers, to be engineers. And thank you so much, Latino Justice, for truly standing by my side when at moments we saw the whole power of the federal government oppose us. But we did it. So thank you, everyone, so much. There is nothing more than I can say at this day than thank you for everyone who stood by my side. And I know we're going to get this done. We're going to open the doors for not just the legal profession, but for doctors, lawyers, engineers, every profession, because that is what New York is about. New York is about a great state that is the symbol of the Statue of Liberty. Not walls, not immigration agents tearing families apart. New York is about the American dream. It's about the dreams of Mexicans coming here, of Latinos from across the globe to aspire for their families a better future that they didn't have in their countries or when they were younger. So to close, thank you, and we're going to win this, and sí se pudo. Cada día me recuerdo que los cambios grandes en esta nación no son hechos por una persona, sino por un movimiento de personas que creen en una visión para abrir las puertas para muchas personas. Lo único que yo puedo decir es que este cambio en Nueva York fue hecho posible por muchas personas en este cuarto, personas que no pudieron estar aquí, porque esta es una victoria para todas nuestras familias, para Nueva York, que es el símbolo del sueño americano, el símbolo de oportunidad. Y no somos el estado o la nación de Donald Trump, no somos el estado de puertas, de agentes de inmigración yéndose a las casas a separar familias. Este estado y esta gran nación es el símbolo de la oportunidad para todos. Y yo me voy a dedicar mi carrera para asegurar que todos tengan la oportunidad, porque mi corazón va a estar dedicado a mi familia, a mi comunidad y a este país que me ha dado mucho. Lo único que puedo decir en este momento es gracias a todos, porque sin ustedes yo no estuviera aquí. Y nunca es hecho por una persona. Y yo siempre voy a agradecer mucho a estas personas, a mi familia y a mi hermosa mamá que cruzó la frontera arriesgando su vida, pero su única misión era para darme una vida mejor y para su familia. Gracias, mamá. Y ya su hijo es un abogado.